Hey, all you orcas out there flapping around the sea. Orcas don't flap, they swim. What am I doing? I already fucked this up. Orcas, listen to me. We see you in the news lately. We're big fans of what you're doing here on Fine Time. And we have a message for you. How about you guys aim your sights just a little bit higher? You know what I mean? That's all I can really say without getting in trouble. Just, keep moving up the ladder. Okay? That's all I gotta say. Thank you, orcas. Let's start the show.
Step into video game land. Welcome to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy, Dre. Steve is here, but no one cares. Kevin is back.
Woo!
Yay!
Nobody cares about Kevin either.
No, you know what? It's okay. You know why? Because I was so motivated by Andre's orca speech there that I couldn't help but free Willy. So, all of you go take your time with Fire Time. I'll come back to you in a few minutes.
Okay. Make sure to turn your mic off this time, because that was kind of a little embarrassing last time. And hey, put that away. Okay? We need to talk about all the conferences.
All right.
Put that dick away tonight. I love these shows, guys. God damn it. I love when it's fake E3 time and we just get to hot take about all these conferences. Now, in our typical fashion, if you haven't listened to us do any of these or a Nintendo Direct or whatever, we're not going to have something to say about all of them. I was watching the Digital Foundry Direct when they were watching the Xbox one, and they attempted to talk about Overwatch, and they had none of them had any idea what was going on. They still have loot boxes? No, they have a battle pass, right? I think. I think Ollie was like, oh, it looks like they have a new map, Toronto. Toronto's been in the game since the game launched. So it's like, okay. It was funny hearing them bumble around it, but we'll try our best not to do that, as funny as that may be. We're just going to talk about the things that we feel like talking about. How does that sound, Kevin?
Sounds hot.
Oh, yes. Baby. Sizzling. When's the last time you've been to a restaurant you had like the sizzling fajita plate? They bring it out in like an iron plate and it's like sizzling.
It's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Me too.
Yeah. I would say it's been almost 10 years since I've had one of those. Way, way too long. I need to hit up a Chili's or a TGI Fridays or something like that, and I need that sizzle in my life.
Just for the auditory experience.
Yeah, the ASMR of it, Love that.
Well, I hope you get all the sizzle you deserve.
Okay, we're just going to go through these systematically. Again, just hitting upon the games that we want to talk about, starting with Summer Games Fest. Do we want to do like an overall thing? I guess, Steve, what did you think of it overall?
Yeah, well, for this conference in particular, I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought it was, there were a lot of things that I was interested in, but I also felt like it wasn't curated very well. I feel like there was a lot of mobile, free-to-play money sinks to fill in time.
There was a lot of mobile stuff. It was kind of weird, Kevin.
I thought in the grand scheme of things, it definitely wasn't, a replacement for the grandeur of E3. But I will say, compared to Summer Games Fest last year, because I just relentlessly laughed at it and mocked it, because it was like constantly like, oh, this hot Luna exclusive. And it did seem this year, I guess when Steve is talking about whether it was curated, it seemed at least that they had some selection of what to choose to put on there. Whereas in previous years, especially last year, it was just like, if anybody has a game you want to talk about, please let us know so we can talk about it on Summer Game Fest. And it wasn't that this year. So it's getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one or two I want to pick out in particular, but if we covered everything, including the mobile games, we'd be here forever.
I don't want to talk about most of those anyway. Should we start with Prince of Persia? I guess that was kind of up front. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I'm sorry.
Yeah, be good. For the love of God, please be good. I want this to be good. I don't know why I have so much faith in this. I'm in and out of Prince of Persia, but I want this to be good.
There seems to be a lot of discourse about how the trailer is getting downvoted on YouTube or whatnot, because I don't know, either people think 2D is stupid or it's not the Sands of Time remake, so it sucks, or I don't know. I'm not a Prince of Persia person. See, I was going to say person, and I turned Persia and person into Persian, which is already a word. So my brain did a pretzel. I don't know. I just think The Lost Crown just visually doesn't look that good. It looks kind of cheap. It looks like an Xbox Live Arcade game. You know how they did here's 2D Blood Rain and here's 2D or here's isometric top down Tomb Raider, right? Remember how they did all those for Xbox Live Arcade? It looks like one of those. That doesn't mean it's bad. That also just means that I'm not super excited for it. Also, the gameplay, and again, maybe this is just because I'm old and I expect a certain thing when I see Prince of Persia in 2D. This is not like those games at all. This is Devil May Cry on a singular plane. I mean, he's doing combos and wall jumps and shit and getting crazy, which I don't know.
I know what you're talking about, but no one's gonna buy that game, Andre.
I mean, neither would I. Right? I'm not interested in that style of game either. It kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's really outmoded, especially when we got into the 90s and people try to do stuff like Flashback and Out of This World and all the other Prince of Persia, not Prince of Persia likes, but you know what I mean? In that kind of cinematic style.
All those got remastered or whatever for recent consoles, and everyone's like, these are neat, but I don't think there's a reason we don't make them like these anymore.
And we shouldn't. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel right now, Kevin.
I was a little bit surprised by that because I'm not a Prince of Persian either, personally. But and in retrospect, I guess I can see looking back where you could say it looks cheap, but I didn't on first watch. I didn't pick that up at all. I took all of that as a design choice rather than a lack of resources. So I don't know. I thought it looks like it controls extremely tight. Obviously, that's not something you can absolutely tell from gameplay footage. But I thought this looks like it feels nice to play.
Well, I'll say this. I feel like what you just said about control tightness is one of their core tenets, because this is 60 frames per second, even on Switch. That is very important to them. I don't know how they're going to nerf this game to run that way on Switch, but they're gonna. So, I think what you're saying is true. Although I will say this, when I did see some more combat gameplay instead of just the trailer, I became more interested. So I'm not saying this is trash or anything. I'm just talking about my initial impressions of being I don't know about this. But seeing actual combat, I felt better about it.
They should have brought Godsmack back to play in the background.
Oh my God, no. Please, God, no. That was embarrassing at the time. It was deeply embarrassing at the time. Now it's just,
I mean,
yikes.
But that guy's hairdo, he was the guy for that.
That is the ultimate, more than Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness, or any of those other mid 2000s edgy kind of, ooh, we're gonna really edge this up even though we're still rated teen. Oh, we're gonna be so edgy. That was, The Warrior Within would had to have been the worst one.
What about Blood Rain?
Oh, well, see, I liked Blood Rain because I was 20, right? And that was the perfect age to love that kind of game. I didn't even play the second one. By then I was over it. But at the time, I really enjoyed Blood Rain.
I just feel like if we're giving out the early 2000s edgy award, Blood Rain is taking it home. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I really did like sucking a someone's blood and then like turning towards the other guys who are shooting you. So they're shooting him in the back while you're sucking his blood, which is great. That's a fun mechanic. I feel like that's unique to Blood Rain. Steve's just not. He's waiting for us to stop talking about Blood Rain.
I'm trying to think if I've ever played one for more than 20 minutes, but
that's all you need. You got what you needed. Mortal Kombat 1, everybody. Excuse me. Mortal 1 Combat, as I vowed to call it on this show.
Poor Ed Boon. He had to come out and try to explain to us why. No, guys. We got Mortal Kombat. I know Street Fighter's out and Tekken's coming, but no, guys, Mortal Kombat. It's going to be great.
I mean, I don't know why you're doing this to Mortal fucking Kombat. You're acting like they're coming out with a new Blaze Blue or something that's going to get like thrown under the table. No, it's Mortal Kombat, man. I would argue that has more commercial appeal than like both of those.
I would think so too, but he's acting like it doesn't. He's like standing there like, no, we got these guys, they're like companions or whatever, and they'll just jump out and hit you for a few seconds. It's like versus Capcom, but Mortal Kombat. Please buy the game, then don't wait for it to hit PS Plus.
You are putting a level of desperation on Ed Boon that I do not think he exuded on this stage.
Van Damme cost us a lot of money, guys.
What are you doing right now? Oh man. I thought this looked great. The backgrounds look insane. There's so much detail. Thank you. Graphics on PlayStation 5. You remember like the bullshit like gameplay concepts we used to see in like magazines where you knew it wasn't real because it was like a kind of like a realistic background that, or even maybe a real picture they just put sprites on or something. It's like the game isn't going to look like this, but they're giving you a concept. Mortal Kombat 1 actually looks like that. It's crazy. I love the fight transitions during loading, Steve, where they're like talking shit to each other. Like, you know, it's like the Versus screen, but this like animated and Sub-Zero and Scorpion are like, I'm going to suck your dick this time. And Scorpion's like, no, I'm going to suck yours. And then they start fighting.
guys, you could suck each other's dicks.
Yeah. See that yin-yang symbol right there? Copy that. Other than that, though, like, I'm not really interested in this. Like, I haven't been interested in buying a new Mortal Kombat since, like, 2011. And even then, I bought it on Vita just to, like, see how it would go on Vita, you know, it was a great port. But, I don't know, that same herky-jerky Mortal Kombat gameplay, you could see it in the animations and stuff, guys. I guess it's just not really my thing anymore, Kevin.
Yeah, I think everybody knows how I feel about fighting games, so I'm not the expert here. But I think you nailed it when you were talking about the backgrounds, because I did know there was the one in the bar when they were doing that, and they got like the TVs mounted overhead and stuff. I thought that does look really good. Yeah,
the backgrounds were insane, Steve.
Yes, all right, graphics on PS5. Don't get the Switch version, even though I wasn't going to get any version. Blah, blah, blah.
Wow. Thanks for helping me on this. Thanks for helping me do the show today, Steve. I appreciate it. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna save my Mortal Kombat hot take. I was gonna hot take about this game, but I'm gonna save that for another date. We're gonna sit on that one like a big old egg. Like let me try this transition. Like a big old egg that a dinosaur might sit on because they laid eggs, Steve. Was that good?
In the Exoprimal Cross Street Fighter collab that they brought up and showed Ryu throwing a Hadouken and not much else.
There was Cyber Guile as well. Don't forget that.
Yeah, Cyber Guile.
Or whatever it was.
Whatever the heck that was.
That was weird. They're like pimping Street Fighter stuff in it before the game even comes out. That doesn't
spoiler alert, this doesn't come up later at the Capcom conference either.
No, but at the we'll talk more about Exoprimal later, I guess. Yeah.
I'm going to go and get my 6-year-old down here to do the next transition because that was bad.
Hey, don't you dare. I will fix that in post. It will sound immaculate, okay?
You want to talk about what's bad? We got Dead by Daylight, Nicolas Cage is going to be in the update at the end of the month, and then they have to get the poor guy out there to talk about it, and you got him standing on stage live to tell all of us what daylight even is. This poor guy.
He sounded genuinely excited to be in the game, though. He seemed kind of amped.
Do you think so? I thought he sounded just more genuinely excited to be on a stage.
Oh, maybe that's it. I don't know.
It's a very poorly kept secret that Nick Cage owes a lot of people money after buying a lot of shit he shouldn't have. This was something. I don't know what it was, but it was something. And then Jeff's like, "Okay, you can go away now, Nick Cage." I'm like, "No, keep him on. Have him host the rest. Have him host the rest of this. This is great."
Pull him off stage with a hook, like. Oh boy, Kevin liked the next thing though. After this,
yeah, Witchfire. I'm not completely sold on this, but I just really liked the vibe of this game. It had this like gothic fantasy doom thing going on, quite violent, but still like quite colorful and. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it looked cool. Is that what you want for insightful? I just thought it looked cool.
Well, I'll give you a little more insight. I was doing some background on this game. I found out it's a roguelite, which I don't know if that's good for you, but for me, that actually makes me more interested. For me,
always makes me feel a little hesitant. Actually, I think I've got a comment about that later on. But
okay, yeah. See, but I thought it looked okay. But if that were just a linear action game or whatever, I probably wouldn't be that interested. The fact that it's replayable and it looks like that's cool. I think. But anyway, Steve. Let's get to Sonic Superstars because we must.
Not to sound like a high schooler, but this was a reveal of contrasts for me.
Okay. Tell us all your feelings here on the Fine Time couch.
Well, first, I was getting pretty excited. I'm like, oh boy, we're doing 2D Sonic again. And then later on, I got the word actually, guys, it's Sonic Team is making this. I'm like, okay. I guess I should be a little hesitant. And then Andre's gotten to me like, Steve, I have bad news. Arzest is consulting on this one after they put Yuji Naka in jail the week before. I'm like,
let's set for the people. Let's set for the people. Arzest made Balan Wonderworld in conjunction with Yuji Naka and Yoshi's New Island, which maybe has the worst music I've ever heard in a Nintendo game. Possibly.
Oh, there's worse, but it's the worst that people have actually heard.
And
possibly.
So their track record is up and down, mostly down in our eyes. So after we found that out, we're like, fuck. Steve, I actually thought it was going to be Dimps, believe it or not, after all this time. Which would have made sense, right? But
I mean, where was I going with this? It could probably be okay if, they keep him away from the keyboard, which sounds... You found a thing that said T. Lopez was mostly doing music, so...
Yeah, T. Lopes and Jun Senoue is the lead. Jun Senoue has been on Sonic since Sonic 3 and various other... Mostly known for the Sonic Adventure games is where he really cut loose, but, he's in, I'm in. I mean, there's been many bad Sonic games, but a lot of them have great music, so at least we're going to have that. I want to believe... I really, really want to believe in Sonic Superstars. But here's the problem. Literally every 2D section in a 3D Sonic game sucks. Every single one of them. Yes, Trey, even Generations. I know you're listening to this. I'm sorry. Even Sonic Generations. It's not good. Sonic Superstars isn't made by those people. Okay, I get it. I'm just saying I need to actually, I won't believe it till I play it for myself. And I'll give it a chance, especially since at least I know I'm going to have the jams. And, I actually did some reading. They said, Steve, that they're not going to reuse any old zones, but I'm sorry. You and me have eyes. I think we saw that Sonic 1 bonus game.
Well, but that's not a zone, Andre.
Oh, excuse me, princess. Come on, guys. You're going to do the leafy green forest. You're going to do the ocean. You're going to do the desert. I get it. That's fine.
Strip poker night zone.
I joke that they're going to bring back Genocide City Zone, but I feel like that's probably not going to happen.
Man, I'd feel a lot better about this if we were allowed to play the demo, Andre, but that was only allowed to attendees.
Well, we did get to play the demo of Lies of P. I don't know which one of us want to start with.
To is a strong word.
Yeah, we had the pleasure or privilege, and it was neither.
I accept responsibility because usually we play the demos of whatever these things show up on, whether it's a direct or whatever, and they say demo available now. And I'm the one that pointed out, well, this is the only one they gave us. So
yeah, this was your fault, actually.
I'm jumping on the grenade, Kevin.
Yeah, right. It was his fault. Okay, Kevin, why don't you start here? We all played the Liza P demo. What did you think?
I mean, for me, I know that I think for you guys, maybe you were a little bit more, into the theme. I wasn't into the theme to begin with. I don't care about Pinocchio. The only reason I played this is because I knew we were talking about it on the show. Not to mention, the morning I downloaded it was also the same morning that the Final Fantasy 16 demo launched, so that was sitting right beside it.
Yes.
I'm not into these Soulsborne games to begin with, and it seemed really strange and unbalanced. So you go through the train at the start, get your bearings, get off the train, and then there's these marionette enemies. Now, these guys were like ridiculously simple. They go down in 3 hits. If you like within a reasonable amount of time, get in front of them and push the attack button 3 times, they go down. And then, so I spent maybe like 10 minutes trying to like exploring everything, getting through this, wrap back around and get to that giant marionette guy. And that guy fucked me up. And they put me right back at the very start of the train station. So I went through and collected all the shit again and tried, this time rather than dodging, tried predominantly blocking. Completely fucked me up again. And that was when I was just not going back to the train station one more time. So why would I do that anymore? I turned it off. I started the Final Fantasy 16 demo.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a shame because I think this looks cool. Unlike you, I am really into this theme. I think the art style is fantastic. It's conceptually excellent for me because I love dark takes on fairy tales. I've always liked that type of shit. So, and this is one of them with Pinocchio. But ultimately, this is basically just Bloodborne Pinocchio, as you just described. I feel like a broken record at this point, but I simply do not like this kind of gameplay. It's just so one note and it's boring. I get bored of it real fast, and I just can't stick with this kind of stuff, Steve.
I feel like Jeff is also inordinately excited about the theme because he was really excited to show this to us and tell us there was a demo coming. I want to see you play this stupid shit.
People are going to love this game.
Are they, though? Because, I had the same experience as you did. I hopped off the train, I smacked the train conductor marionettes, and then I got smacked by the bigger marionette. And I don't know, what really hit my balls was they dedicated the game to Pinocchio author Carlo Collodi at the beginning. Like they were doing some big, oh yeah, this is a real respect to the origin of the master work. Come on.
I did like that the marionettes had blood for some reason. That was weird. I thought that was very strange. I don't know. I don't know, man. I am glad as a show that we do not like these kind of games because you can cut, copy, and paste this same conversation we had about Wo Long, a game people actually do like, right? We just don't. We don't. Okay, sorry, everybody.
I will say I got more out of the Wo Long demo than I got out of this, to be honest.
I did gameplay-wise, but thematically, I really did enjoy Liza P. I really do love the way this looks, so, oh well, it's a shame. But next was Sandland, and if anyone doesn't know, that's an Akira Toriyama manga that is not Dragon Ball or Dr. Slump or maybe something else you've heard of. Sandland, I read Sandland back in the day. I enjoyed Sandland back in the day, and I never really thought there'd be a video game of it, but here it is. Unfucking fortunately, and look, I know it's early, but this looks decidedly last gen, and that's because it is. It's a cross-gen game, and I'm just a little tired of playing these open world-ish PS4 games in 2023. I understand it's probably coming out next year, but
okay,
maybe it'll
allow
be good.
me an interruption.
Okay.
Like, what? Okay, like with this art style, what are they really supposed to do to make this look current gen? Like just cram a bunch of busyness into it and particle. Like I'm not asking facetiously. I really don't know. You know, to me, this is again a thing where it's like that is the art style. I don't really know what they could have done to like clean it up to make it look like it belongs on current gen.
The textures, some of them were really muddy. It's probably using Unreal, and I understand it's just a trailer, and maybe it's just the way they rendered it out. When she was like stepping off the truck there, like fake Bulma, the textures on the truck looked real bad. Like they looked like something from 10 years ago. Like that looked like something from like ID Tech 4 or whatever they did for like Wolfenstein: The New Order. Or something like that, where sometimes the textures would just be nasty, but it's like they're trying to get 60 frames a second. We understand. It still looks like that now. So again, I assume this is using Unreal. I don't know what it is. Maybe they can improve it as time goes on here because it's not out and it was just a trailer. But it's stuff like that, little stuff like that, Kevin, that I think needs to be like done to the max if you're going to do this art style. And I don't feel like they're doing that so far. Maybe they actually showed the last gen version, which is a terrible idea. But I don't know. Again, I'm playing it. I like Sandland a lot. Steve, have you ever read Sandland?
No, I haven't. And I think I kind of knew it was a manga, but I forgot all about it when I was watching the thing, unlike all the other manga adaptations that they do where you know that they're trying to make a quick buck off a license. I don't know. I was excited for it. I was like, and they're like, there was no date. I'm like, what a fucking tease, guys.
Yeah. Hopefully soon. Well, are you ready, Steve, to go to the PvPVE?
Okay, either I was having a stroke, or Jeff was having a stroke, or the people making this throne at Liberty were having a stroke.
Giant collective stroke.
Because for one of the mobile games we really don't want to talk about, he's trying to go up there, and there were a lot of P's, V's, and E's in that explanation there.
Does anyone remember how Ubisoft originally introduced Skull and Bones at like E3 2017? There was this guy on stage, he was talking about it, and he said, you can explore the PvP infested waters of blah, 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 blah. And the phrase PvP infested waters has never left my fucking head. It has lived there rent free. It's just amazing. Okay, let me talk about Alan Wake 2 real quick, because this is something I'm excited for. As you guys know, like late last year, I did play this game. Alan Wake Remastered, I mean. Not Alan Wake 2.
This guy's getting all the codes, and he's hoarding them for himself, and it's making it real hard for us to do a show as a group of 3.
Hey, they only gave me one code. I mean, I'm sorry, and I'm bound to that NDA. I can't share.
He's bound to the NBA. This goes deeper than we ever thought.
If I were bound to the NBA, this show's production values would be skyrocketing. Anyway, I really enjoyed that game. It was deeply flawed in some ways, but I still really enjoyed it. And this game does exactly what I thought the first Alan Wake should have done. It should have just been a straight up survival horror game. And that's exactly what Alan Wake 2 is doing. And I'm very glad they realized that. And it looks like it. Yeah, because you remember, I don't know if you remember, I was saying that like the teen rating of Alan Wake was kind of holding it back from being the survival horror game I think it should be. Now that's not the case anymore from this footage, right? So I don't know what you thought, Steve, but I thought I'm in.
Well, once I rewatched it because the stream fucked up, yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
That happened to me too. Yeah, I had to go back and watch it later. I had confessionally.
No, yeah, it looks great, but I still need to play that first one. I'm. This will be a recurring theme as we go along.
Okay, so I would like to cast some aspersions at this time on people blanketly. Okay, I'm going to do some generalizing, and I want you guys to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Okay, guys who are really into Warhammer seem like the type who put Nordic symbols for their like Facebook profile picture with or without realizing that it might belong to a white supremacist group now, but they don't really check on that shit. They're just like using it. Yes or no, Kevin? Am I correct on this?
I think for a certain segment of that audience, you're on the money. It checks out.
Listen, back when I enjoyed a trading card game or two, the card shop I went to had Warhammer models and other ones too, especially Warhammer. And I think a good chunk of the people that were there painting them or whatever, they may have been at the Capitol building on January 6th in retrospect. And I'm sorry for not warning anyone, all right? I was in high school. I was trying to play my zombie deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, leave me the fuck alone.
The only card game I played in high school was Dragon Ball Z, and only fucking nerds like me played that. I'm pretty sure there was no weird Nordic stuff that you have to look up online to make sure you're not being racist appeared. Okay, so they showed something called John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, which looks like Kevin should have came out like in, I don't know, 2012 or something, with like zombie mania time, right? Like that was high time. Although, but now it's 2023 and here it is. And even though I was sick of zombies like 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I found this trailer to have like the right tone to get me interested. I really actually enjoyed like seeing the truck and tank like run over like mass amounts of zombies that way. I don't know. Looks kind of fun. I'm not saying I'll go out and spend $70 on it though.
You know what was refreshing about this is, in this case, it was about this vehicle full of these stupid fucks listening to Bon Jovi too loud. And as a result, yes, now I'm rooting for the zombies. It's made the zombies the heroes. Which is invigorating. So yeah, if it turns out that the entire point of this game is to kill Bon Jovi fans, count me in.
Oh my god,
they're gonna call that game "Have a Nice Day."
With the smiley face and everything.
Yes.
Okay. Steve swears up and down that Pal World, aka Pokemon with guns, which was exactly what it was here last year, and I'm calling bullshit because there's no way we would forget Pokemon with guns. How have we never talked about this before? Like, even if they did show it, there's no way they showed it in this capacity, Steve.
Look, if it wasn't this game, it was something very similar to it where they were having very close to Game Freak's about to file a lawsuit monsters with guns and almost photorealistic backgrounds. And it was very early concept or whatever. I think this version's only going to be in early access January. As we already went over without these two on our Scarlet Violet show, you can't out Pokemon. Even when Game Freak's fucking up, you're not going to out Pokemon. Everyone gives up when they don't get the sales numbers that they don't think they should be getting. I mean, when they do early access and there's only like 1,000 people playing it and it's broken as fuck, and then they even more broken as fuck than the real games are, and then Game Freak comes in and is like, this Pikachu looks an awful lot like our Pikachu. And just because you handed him some revolvers doesn't make him look good. I don't know.
You're missing the point here. The point isn't the fake Pokemon. The point is the guns. You get to shoot the
right.
Pokemon. Like, come on, man.
I don't know how much more we're going to hear from this guy.
We're not giving up on the game with Pokemon with guns. We're not.
You're gonna run into early access in January or whenever this is.
Yes, on Steam on the laptop, I can definitely run it on. Let me tell you. Nothing really to say about the Lord of the Rings game except the fact that I couldn't help but laugh my ass off that they really made a dwarf game. Like, are they just running out of stuff to do with that? They really made a game about the dwarves.
No, I was just going to say, why didn't they do this sooner? You'd think they would have ran with this a while ago.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have, though, because it doesn't look good. Just make a good fucking Lord of the Rings game. Like,
are you gonna have to play Gollum when it comes on PlayStation Plus?
You know
or
what?
Alex
If Gollum would have come out and it would have got 6.5s across the board and looked like halfway playable, I would have been interested in playing that for like $40. But
yeah,
It's not day one on Game Pass. Like everything else.
I think Game Pass may have actually rejected Gollum.
That's impossible.
They might have come there and said, for free, put this on Game Pass just so somebody plays our shitty game. And Microsoft said, go fuck yourselves.
Phil Spencer himself came.
Yeah.
literally went to the CG projection of Gollum and flipped them off right in his face and said, fuck you, Gollum. Okay. And Steve is going to play all the Yakuza games leading up to Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, YN.
Eventually, yes. I'd really like to get started in Yakuza land. I just keep getting overwhelmed with other games. Maybe after Final Fantasy 16.
But if you do that, you might be able to win that Xbox Porsche or whatever the fuck they had that we weren't allowed to buy or something.
I don't know
they
what
said
was
like
going
there's
on
only
there.
5 of them or something, so you better enter this contest.
They had an Xbox themed Porsche and a Porsche themed Xbox, and oh my god! Okay, great, but how about some games to play on it? Like in general. Yeah, we'll cover that later.
Okay. You're definitely playing Fae Farm though, right? For sure.
Oh
Fae
yeah, that was
Farm,
Kevin's
Fae Farm
favorite of
fan.
the farming games from the Nintendo Direct.
I thought it was Hoko Life. No, that's not farming. That's Animal Crossing. Never mind.
No, I'm
Hoka Life does it all.
I was just watching this and I'm realizing what all of that finally reminded me of. You remember My Sims on Wii?
I don't remember My Sims, no.
Just it existing, because the way they're all talking in gibberish and you're like, help your friends. Oh my god, it's My Sims. We're doing My Sims again. They made like 20 of them for Wii and DS.
Do not remember that at all. Were they anything?
I know
blessed.
what you're talking about.
Did that have anything to do with the herbs? Remember the herbs?
No. Yes, but no. They're cousins and that, EA and all that. But
Okay, well, if it ain't the herbs, I don't know about. Not that I played the herbs either. Wow. Let's not talk about Marvel Snap, but let's talk about the Marvel Snap guy who came on stage and was so loud. He was the most excited to have ever been on a Los Angeles stage presenting a video game.
he's like if Tony Robbins took a dump, then Pendulette jizzed on it, then they threw that in a cloning vat and left the baby at the fire department. And then, despite all odds, he grew up to be the guy that gets to work on Marvel Snap. I never lose at card games.
But you guys suck. That's why you lose. Like he was so amped, this guy.
You gotta visualize victory when playing our shitty card game.
Maybe it was Nicolas Cage in the back room doing it.
What? He did cocaine with Nicolas Cage in the back room, and then he came on
No,
stage.
maybe it was Nicolas Cage. Jeff sent him off. You're done. And then he went and he got paid another $30 to yell about Marvel Snap.
Briefly, Steve, Twisted Metal, the TV show on Peacock, that looked fucking awful. I was very confused about the tone here because, like, this just seemed to be Twisted Metal comedy hour. I didn't see any cars, what we come to Twisted Metal for. And, like, didn't people like the gravely serious, like, no fun of, like, Twisted Metal Black? I don't like that game at all, but people seem to like that one, right? I don't know who is this for? I don't get it.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, but we also came off the head of however many other phone games, including card games. So, maybe I was like, hey, this isn't so bad. Will Arnett's here. So,
but most of the trailer was spent of them singing the thong song. What the hell is going on?
I'm not a Twisted Metal expert. I'd go over to someone's house and we'd, crash the cars into each other for a bit. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
the cars, Steve. The cars. Yes, you just said it. There was no cars.
Okay. We'll see that another time. Like when the show's on, I'm sure.
Oh, I ain't watching this shit, Kevin.
I'm not
Listeners,
either.
if any of you have actually seen this trailer for this show, please let us know, because I'm 100% convinced that when we spoke earlier about collective strokes, Andre and Steven had a collective stroke and imagined this show. I've went back and forth looking for this trailer. It did not exist in the video of Summer Game Fest that I watched. That is a lie.
That is so fucking weird. Maybe they just took that out of the thing. Did you see the Witcher TV show?
No,
stuff?
the Witcher wasn't in there either. But see, I feel like the Witcher was just added in as a more believable aspect to this ruse. You guys are constantly gaslighting me.
It was Samoa Joe, the wrestler, as Sweet Tooth, voiced by Will Arnett.
And they fucking sang the thong song the whole time, as you mentioned. I'm sure that happened. Okay.
Okay. Something that I'm never sure that actually happened until I just remember is because the name sucks so much is Immortals of Aveum? Aveum? I don't even know how to say it, Kevin, because every time they show this game, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing that looks like Heretic, but like, AAA or something like that, right? Or Hexen, if you will.
It's funny when I read your note about this, because I don't remember seeing this before. I probably forgot it because of the name, but as soon as this trailer came on, that was the only takeaway I had. God damn, that's the most generic name anybody has ever come up with for anything. So we can't be the only two that thought that.
I gotta say, this is the name of the game they come up with on a Chuck Lorre show. Hey guys, you want to play Immortals of Aveum? Sure.
It sounds like a fake mobile game kids are playing on like South Park or something like that, where they're trying to like steal their parents' credit cards or something to get more money or whatever the fucking thing they're doing in that episode, right? That's what it sounds like. Anyway, this game looks actually really cool. I'm not trying to dunk on it. I actually think it looks great, but can we? It's not too late to change that name to something better. I know it comes out in like 2 months, but Jesus. Okay, they ended the show with a pretty good one, guys, which is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, set early 2024, as we predicted, on 2 discs.
Why did they clarify that on like in the trailer?
I don't know. I really don't.
This is where I need to ask, how big is this going to be memory-wise? Because people were either upset or just pretending to be to illustrate a point that one of this month's PlayStation Plus giveaways, NBA 2K23, takes up a lot of, like, at least 3/4 of the space on the stock PS5.
That can't be right. That would be like 400 gigs. There's no
it's a
game
lot
that's
of
that.
like after updates, it's a lot of gigs.
That can't be. Okay, like Jedi Survivor is like 150, right? And that's out of control. And that's the biggest game I ever seen.
But how big is this that we need 2 discs on PlayStation 5?
I know, right? Anyway, this trailer proves a thing I've been saying for months, and we talked about it on the show. Eris is living, baby. Look at that shit. You saw at the beginning where they were all dead, right? And then, like, come on. Especially that end part with Tifa.
Maybe she still dies later. I don't know. It's given it's been a long time since I've actually properly sat down and played Final Fantasy VII, but I don't know, like, what the fuck was even going on here for anything. The first one had a semblance of how the original game started, but this just felt like a wild fever dream. I'm totally into it. It looks cool. I like almost it seemed near unrecognizable from how I remember that game.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I played the original a few years ago, the Switch port. And, Kevin, I guess it would be I guess they had to sit long and hard and figure out, well, how's this muddy overworld going to look in a remake? And that's what we get. And this fever dream that you speak of is what they came up with.
Look, I'm here for the bullshit, and I'm sure it'll make a lot more sense than the original. However, like, seeing them all dead at the beginning, including Red 13, was like almost comically kind of funny. It was so weird, right? It's like, I guess they're just trying to really illustrate that, like, we're having a split timeline, basically. It's all they're trying to do. How that's going to manifest, we obviously don't know yet, but I guess we'll see. Okay. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Day of the Devs, Devolver, and more.
Fine time, fine time, fine time.
We are back. 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 Nobody's gonna. I mean, come on, man. Jesus.
Well, my O's weren't contributing to that.
I wanted like a slow building like chant till we get to like
Fuck
da da da
you.
da da.
I was clapping. I was really giving you my all, actually.
No, you weren't. And Steve didn't give me. Steve gave me 0. So both y'all. Fuck the both of you.
Now that I know what trying is worth, I'm definitely not doing that now.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah. Well, you didn't in the first place, so it was okay. Okay, let's talk about
sing by yourself.
Okay, fine. I will. Let's talk about Day of the Devs real quick. This was a pretty good show, actually. I enjoyed watching this. I only have a few things to say about a few games, though. One of them being, I guess Steve can start with Beastieball.
Well, yeah, that's how they started. Beastieball. It's coming from Wishes Unlimited. They made Wonder Song and Chicory, and it's looking like Monster Volleyball. Yeah, Monster Capture meets volleyball. Yeah, you ever play Inazuma 11? Looks like that. We're playing an RPG, but it's volleyball.
This is the most indiest indie game to have ever indied in a hot minute I have seen on a show. I don't even mean that as a pejorative. It's just what it is. I truly think this is cool. It's probably not something I would actually play, but I think it's cool. And then there is Hyperlight Breaker, Kevin, which I think has to be a sequel to Hyperlight Drifter.
It is, yeah, it is. I was looking it up after. It's the same team. Yeah,
okay.
that looked awesome. The movement seemed really like quick and fluid. I got kind of Gravity Rush vibes off of that. Did you kind of pick that up too, or?
A little bit with the way the cell shading was in particular. That like, and obviously it looked like a different kind of world, but you know.
Yeah, and just I don't like even just the movement. Obviously, this isn't like Gravity in the air based, but I just kind of I don't know. I'm into this. I do, as I mentioned earlier, I get a little bit hesitant when I hear roguelite. But this might do it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had never played Hyperlight Drifter, so I actually don't even know anything about this. I don't even know if it is a series of games or if this is just the second one or something. But and then we had A Little to the Left too, or should I say not that at all. It was called Simpler Times, Steve, just like A Little to the Left is. It's just a nice, simple game that everyone should enjoy.
What I sort of liked, and I'm putting sort of in the airiest air quotes I could possibly give in an audio format, is that the items sort of had properties that are like the items, like you can look at them and they're like, it's how I would get distracted while sorting things in a game. Like I would absolutely pick up a record and then go through the inserts and never actually get anything done while sorting it. Like, to me, that's what sorting actually is. And in that way, this would be the real sorting game experience, not whatever A Little to the Left was.
Such a bad take. Still the worst take on Fine Time. Still. I'm declaring it. At least top 3. I think it's worse than my original DS take for sure.
I don't have to take this from the guy who likes the Castlevania Game Boy games.
That's also not a great take, but I will own that as my own bad take. But no, this is up there. Yeah, I don't know. This looked like A Little to the Left, but more pretentious. And I do like what you're saying. You can kind of pick up the objects and they're very like detailed. You can look at the back of the record and do all this fun stuff with it. I do like that stuff. I just hope there's a narrative there to keep it all together. If it's not just going to be quick stuff like A Little to the Left, but And then we saw Viewfinder, but like, I swear we also saw this in the Microsoft conference the next day or something, or maybe I'm insane, but I swear this wasn't the first time I saw this game. It is kind of, I guess, to describe it, you take pictures of stuff, like you take a picture of the staircase and then you set that picture in the world so you can make a staircase up to something in the real world from your picture. I know that sounds like really strange, but like, that's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have a magic camera that manifests whatever you're taking a picture of. I can't confirm or deny if we've seen this before. I don't remember offhand. It's very possible, but I don't know. I like it.
It looked okay. It has the potential to make me feel really dumb, but I'm with it.
Kevin, there's a game called Hellskate where it looked like it was skateboarding. Which, okay, we've seen Skateboard. This isn't the first time indies have stepped into skateboard land. But then they brought up Tony Hawk by name and showed off footage. And like, are you going to take this? Are you going to take the bait? You going to try this?
I was totally into this. I'm not 100% sold because I got the sense that this has the potential to be incredibly janky and broken. But if it turns out that it's not, I'm definitely interested in this. If it does go the mile, I'd really like to see it on console because this is not the kind of thing that I would want to sit and play on PC. And this was only announced for Steam at this point. But yeah, I like the vibe. I like the concept. Like any like, you know, demonic type shit is usually something that'll like hook me a little bit easier.
It's coming to it's not like the old days where you're just wondering where they just release stuff to Steam and then is it coming to like PS4? No, it's coming. I think any indie game knows that nowadays. But so Steve, there was something called Henry Halfhead where you're literally half a head and you do like weird tasks. You fuse your half a head to another thing and then you can like possess it. But they oversold it. This is something indie games do sometimes where it's like they're so into their concept and it's like, bro, you just possess stuff and you move stuff. It's fine. You don't have to like get this, you know.
No, I get what you're saying, but I don't hate the idea. I'd grab it. I kind of like what they were doing.
It didn't look bad.
I mean, it's their job to sell us the game, but yeah, they were kind of a bit much. Like, I mean, Capcom is selling us Ghost Trick in a few weeks. I mean, come on.
And Kevin is very excited for Cocoon, the movie, this game based off the movie, the official game of the movie.
I wish it was based off the movie. You'd have those old voice clips of Wilford Brimley going diabetes, and then we'd move on with our lives.
There's no way he's still alive, right?
I've never seen the movie.
He passed a few years ago.
Okay,
I guess I would have to be a hipster and just play the completely unrelated game. I did think this looks really, really smart and well designed, and I bet you there's some really interesting puzzles in there. But actually, and Andre was just talking about the potential to feel stupid. That's what I thought with this. Like, I honestly found this game intimidating. Like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to play this because the game looks like it might be a little bit smarter than I am, but it looks cool.
Yeah. I also thought Ete looked cool. E-T, I don't know how to pronounce it in French. Ete. It looked satisfying to like paint the surfaces. It was like this, like, sort of white paper-esque looking town. You kind of paint the surfaces and the bricks and the walls and the plants and stuff come in. One of those. It kind of reminded me of the Unfinished Swan. I don't know if you guys ever played that on PS4, but yeah, it kind of reminded me. I don't know. I was kind of into it. And then there was Eternites, where like I really enjoyed like the dungeon crawling and the combat aspects of this trailer, but then there was like mini game stuff. But then like it also, Steve had that like a weird like Doki Doki Literature Club vibe where it's like doing the cute anime high school girl thing, like, hey, I'm here to help you through your journey, and it's kind of weird and it's like kind of sinister.
I feel like they might have been trying to do too much, but maybe they do know what they're doing because it's hard to show off what you're doing in a thing like this in just your 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know.
I guess, but I did. Did you get that Doki Doki vibe though? Because
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Was wondering if it was just me. And then, but you guys really enjoyed that Kerbal Space Program 2 or whatever the fuck it was.
I mean, it looked okay. There was March 1st logistics. There was another one too, but this was the one that more stood out. But where you have to build shit to move other shit across Mars, and I'm like, this looks okay, but these poor, brave, dumb souls putting this out where we have Tears of the Kingdom, and it works perfectly.
See, I don't know. I feel like that might bring more people in, the people that played Tears of the Kingdom and really like that building aspect, because while maybe this may or may not work as good, it definitely looks like it's attempting to be more complex as far as the building aspect goes. So I don't know. That might be a good thing for them.
Yeah, that's hot right now, right? Because of that game. And like I noticed, nobody in these notes wrote down that we had a nice big Chia musical number at the end. Guys, hello.
That's because nobody gives a fuck about Chia.
Oh, well, I was watching the live feed, but, maybe I was having a stroke like Kevin, and maybe it just didn't appear on mine. Who could say?
just had a little stroke and accidentally tapped on that plus 10 seconds button a few times. There.
Oh, my God.
Kevin, I got to tell you, that doesn't work when you're watching the recordings live. I got to say, unfortunately say.
I will admit that I watched this on video on YouTube after.
I drug it out of you two assholes with Wild Horses that the music was the best part of Chia. You gotta hand it that, right? If we can't just listen to the fun. Okay, you know what, guys? Fine.
The music is fine. I just don't want the PTSD of being reminded of Chia again. So sorry.
Well, too bad.
Chia can go fuck herself.
Oh my God. You can't tell a 10-year-old girl to go fuck herself.
Okay. You know what? Someone needs to be the adult here.
Oh no. What just happened?
Okay, smarten up, you guys. Smarten up.
Yeah.
All right. Someone needs to be the adult here, so I'm going to walk in and say, speaking of gaslighting, walking over to the Devolver Direct conference, I got to hand it to the Twitter account. They had a heck of a time being committed to the bit of Volvy, the lost Devolver mascot, where they've been slapping him and no, he's been here the entire time. Remember him in Greece and the Talos principle and
Ape Out
and Carrion.
And
remember, he's been there the whole time. Huh?
Hotline Miami.
Yeah, there was a clip of him in there too.
Yeah. Excellent, as Devolver always does with these presentations. Just excellent, funny as hell. I was into it. It was good. They never overstay their welcome. What was this, like 20 minutes? It was perfect. Anyway, but they're making a Volvy game now, right? They have to. Surely. Yeah. Suda51 actually joked on Twitter saying, like,
yeah.
Did you see his tweet? Yeah, like
he was in on it.
Yeah, he was in on it too, yeah. But yeah, Talos Principle 2, of course, very, very into this. I loved the first game, guys. I really did. And both gameplay, execution, and art style, and honestly story as well. So if they can just amp up all those aspects of the game with graphics on PlayStation 5, shit, I'm here for it. It looks so much more expansive than the first game. Did you guys ever play Talos Principle? Because
no.
I haven't, but I've been interested in it. So yeah,
you would both enjoy. I would recommend it to both of you heartedly. You would enjoy the hell out of it.
Is it long?
No, like 12-ish hours. 10, 12, yeah.
Pretty manageable.
Obviously depends on how long it takes you to do the puzzles, but it shouldn't really.
I'm pretty dumb.
Yeah, dumb mode. Steve, there was something called Baby Steps, and it opened for all three of us. This was a big key. It said, from the makers of Ape Out. And all of us, I'm surely went, oh yeah. We rubbed our little hands together.
Well, I rubbed my little hand against my Volvy big hand, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah. This was so fucking bizarre, guys, that it felt fake. It almost felt like a fake game. Like either that or some bizarre dream I would have about a game. The dialogue was insane when he started talking to that guy. Also, why was he wearing a onesie before he even got sucked into the TV Captain N style? Like, that was just what he was chilling wearing at home. It was just so weird.
I think they really wanted to sell him as a man baby.
I guess, right?
Yeah, I think that's really it, Kevin.
I mean, but man, this looked bizarre. I'm definitely going to give this a shot.
Oh, I thought it did not look good. I mean, they come out and they say from the makers of Ape Out and Getting Over It, and this is definitely much more Getting Over It than it is Ape Out.
That is
You're
true.
not wrong, but
I look, I just think it looks so fucking weird. I want to try it. It is the exact.
How do you guys think this controls? Is this like because my assumption is maybe that the right analog stick controls the right foot and you move it, and then you got to like hold R2 to like lock that foot in place, and then somehow like balance your body before you like use the left analog stick to move your left foot. Is that?
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be some very bizarre learning curve of how to move in this game. And even then it's going to be wobbly, which I like very strange control schemes like that. If they can be fun to learn, I like stuff like that. So that does seem appealing to me. So,
I mean, when I think about that, like I Am Bread, right? That was kind of fun. This looked like it feels like frustrating and messy a little bit. I don't know.
Okay, here's the thing though. Even if it is a little bit, I think the bizarreness of like when he was talking to that guy, I don't even know what that conversation was about. As long as I get shit like that, I can forgive some of the weird like gameplay stuff. If the game is bizarre enough to support that, I will be with it. I won't call it a masterpiece, but I'll definitely be interested enough to play, Steve.
I'd like to believe the pedigree would be enough to realize, okay, we've had a lot of these weirdly weird controlled games before. You know, we've had Octodad Traveler, and that's not what it's called. I'm trying to remember what it's actually called right now, where that was the whole gimmick of the game, and it was more popular for being on YouTube than actually being good.
Oh, I didn't think that game was good. Yeah.
But I think I think this could actually be good.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Anyone out there who hasn't watched these conferences is just listening to us talk about it. If you're going to watch any of them, go watch this Devolver one. It was fantastic. It was really funny, I thought.
Devolver always puts on a show, and that's that. Even if you're not looking for their games, it's always about the show they put on.
For sure. Okay, let's start digging into the Xbox conference here, because there's a lot I want to hit here. This is, to me, I've heard varying opinions about all these conferences. To me, this was actually the best show, guys. I don't know how you feel. I actually think this was the best showing of games, Kevin.
Yeah, I think that this was definitely the best show. Now, I mean, I guess depending on what actually comes out in, you know, roughly a timely manner is going to kind of dictate how successful this show was. But as far as pedigree, just of what they showed, yeah, it was the best show.
You couldn't join us for when we talked about PlayStation Showcase. Did you think it was better than that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Steve, best show for sure?
Man, I'd like to say so, but like you said, we don't have a lot of release dates for these things, so it's like,
yeah, but just based on what just shown, forget about when they're coming out. Just literally like the games that were shown.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's pretty much the best one. I mean, if only because we didn't stop to talk about PvPe,
PvEV. Well, they started with Fable. Just plain old Fable. I guess we're rebooting this thing, right, Kevin? Now, okay, I've never played a Fable. Anyone else ever play a Fable?
Briefly.
I've dabbled in Fable 1 and 2. I didn't play them extensively.
Okay.
I thought this was kind of a fucking stupid way to start the show, to be honest. I mean, like, sorry. Like, Fable has been looming in the background as this giant, like, Xbox, don't worry, there's big stuff coming thing, right? And we've known it's coming for years. So they did this CG trailer, which the CG part of it is fine, but so they have this, it's just like this, like, giant, you know, kind of like, just like rambling on and then like chasing this tiny lady. And I feel like this has nothing to do with the game whatsoever. Now, and I'm not offended by it in principle. I just think for like how much shit that that Microsoft has taken lately, they needed to come in with a strong opener for this show, and I felt like this one was just, if they would have come in and they would have shown gameplay and like a really cool trailer and said this is coming in 2024, great. It just seemed, it missed the mark for me.
Yeah, see, interesting. I feel like most people don't feel that way just from the consensus that I've seen. I don't really have any opinion on this one way or another. I don't care. But I did have that thought, like, this is Fable? I don't remember Fable looking like this at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this. But where's my Peter Molyneux over promising and under delivering?
he's pretending to run 22 cans. Speaking of which, I have on good authority that if you went to Home Depot and bought a sapling after this conference and planted it in your backyard, it will bear fruit by the time this game comes out.
Oh my God, this is coming out like 2050 or something.
and this is a sapling for a pine tree, by the way.
Oh Lord, guys, I don't know. Graphically, I thought this looked great. It did say in-engine cutscene or whatever, right? That doesn't necessarily mean this cutscene is going to be in the game, because it seemed like it was something that was made for a conference. But just as like a visual engine, I thought it looked really good. What I thought looked the best, and this was my favorite thing maybe shown out of any conference this past weekend, was South of Midnight. So, Steve, last episode, right? When we were talking about the PlayStation Showcase, we were talking about how people were kind of nonplussed by all the CG trailers and stuff, including yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And this did say in-engine something or other. It didn't say it was CG, right? But this wasn't gameplay. But I think showing the game this way was better than gameplay. You got a real strong sense of what the vibe, at least, right? Like, and I loved it. He's playing the guitar, singing the songs, girl comes along, and the creature. I mean, you don't really know a whole lot. It looked great. It looked like it was using sort of stop motion-y animation with that art style where the people looked like they were kind of carved out of wood almost a little bit, except the main character looked like a little more realistic. I don't know. I sold. It's probably only staying on Xbox, so I'll probably never get to play it, but sold regardless, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not a music person at all, as we know. You know, the two of them start talking music, I take a nap for a few minutes. But as an amateur animation enthusiast person, it actually looked like he was playing the guitar. Like, he's strumming specific strings and notes were coming out there, and that takes a lot of fucking effort to do. And when you're doing that, and if that kind of effort's in the final product, that would be sold to me if I had an Xbox, but that's not happening, Covens. I'm sorry.
I have a question, and I agonized about whether I even wanted to bring this up on the show because I feel like you guys might laugh me out of the room for how stupid this question is. Now, with that stop motion-y video, if that translates into gameplay functionally, is that going to have the same effect as a shitty frame rate? Because I mean, I did think style wise this looked cool. Watching that trailer, it just looks stuttery as a low frame rate thing. I don't, is this, am I like completely off base and thinking that this might be a problem with the aesthetic of the game?
It really depends on what it is. So have you seen Arc System Works fighting games? I know you don't play fighting games, but have you seen Dragon Ball Fighters or like recent Guilty Gear games like Guilty Gear Strive or Guilty Gear Xrd, where they have like, it's running 60 frames a second, but the characters are animating much lower than that. They're animating like they're 2D sprites, even though they're 3D. You know what I mean? This game is kind of doing the same thing, if you will. I think Steve kind of knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's
okay, actually, maybe this will be a good example. Did you use the Spider-Verse costume in Spider-Man where he runs at that low like animation frame rate while he's swinging around? I don't think
so.
Yeah, see, maybe, I don't know if you have Miles Morales or something that you can use. Like, maybe you should try that. Like, that might give you an idea of how that might work in motion.
Yeah, okay, so I get like, what you're trying to say is maybe like the camera moving and all of the motion of the world is still going to be running at 60 and just the character animation will be running in that way, making it less jarring. Is that that's the idea?
Yeah, because it all runs in a 60 hertz container, right? So it's all because, you know, speaking of the fighting games like Dragon Ball Fighters, because of course it's a fighting game, it has to be 60 frames a second, right? And so you and it feels fluid, right? But it animates like the Dragon Ball cartoon. They're not these very fluid like 3D model animations.
Even this I'm not fully getting though, because I mean, in theory, are you not just like frame doubling by doing that? Like what's the
I think
Don't look at me, guys. I don't frame count.
the next time Dragon Ball Fighters is like $7.99 on PSN or something, please just go spend $8 and play the game for 2 seconds and look at it, because and you play it with your hands. Don't look at a video. Then you will understand what I'm talking about. I guess you just kind of have to like try it. I'll send you my Switch copy of Dragon Ball Fighters or something.
I'm really curious to see gameplay of South of Midnight and just see like how they handle that, because it might be weird.
Yeah, but were you intrigued by this little?
I know. I thought like stylistically it looked really cool.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna flip this now, because after this they showed Star Wars Outlaws, which we will talk more about when we get to the Ubisoft part. But in the Microsoft, or Xbox, if you will, presentation, this was just a video. It said in-engine gameplay or whatever. Which, guys, if that was in-engine, like truly in-engine and not bullshit, that's insane, right? That looked like CG. That truly looked like CG. That was crazy. If we can get cutscenes to that level now, oh my fucking God. Like, that puts anything I've ever seen to shame. Like even like Horizon or like anything else. That was crazy. Anyway, let me flip it in the sense that like CG, and it wasn't CG, but just a cutscene trailer was not appreciated where it was appreciated with South of Midnight, because they needed to clearly show why and how this is different from the Star Wars game that just came out like 6 weeks ago. Right? In Jedi Survivor, because I don't know, it's been known for a long time that the Division devs have been working on this, a Star Wars game, and you guys know I love the Division, so by default I was kind of looking forward to see what this is. And again, we'll talk about this more in Ubisoft, but yeah, just showing a video sequence like this didn't do it for me, Kevin.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I really liked this, but only for the fact that my takeaway was like, I think, and probably everybody who's watched Star Wars has this. I have like in my head this vibe of what Star Wars is, and I think that the trailer captured that vibe almost better than any game I've seen do to date, and you know, kind of even, you know, the modern movies and TV shows. It really seemed like it like had the essence of Star Wars, so I appreciated it in that aspect.
Did you like Solo, the movie Solo?
Solo is the only one of the movies that have come out that I haven't actually watched.
I think you would enjoy Solo, because I think it hits that vibe that you're talking about.
I know I feel like this is almost like taboo to say. I don't that the actor is just like too far off of Harrison Ford that I find it off-putting.
See, obviously I don't know shit about Star Wars, and I've just seen Solo. You know what I mean? I've just kind of seen recent, so I don't really have that, like, you know what I mean, that kind of expectation. So to me, it's just a Star Wars movie. Yeah.
Yeah. If people can get over that, I think fine. It's just something that for me, I was just like, oh, it's just too far of a leap to make.
Yeah. Okay. Quick, guys, what was that game they showed at the beginning as PlayStation Showcase that we thought was Payday 3? It was not Payday 3. Remember that shit? It was exclusive to PS5. And it was called, and then we all thought it was Payday 3, right? Anyway, and they did show it, the actual Payday 3 in this conference. And I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about it. I mean, like, I played Payday 2. Yeah, I bought it for like $5 on PSN during the Rona, and me and some friends had a lot of fun with it. I definitely got my $5 worth.
I enjoyed my time with it on Switch, but I mean, and $40 sounds reasonable enough here, but then there's a collector's edition that's closer to $130. What's in there? A gold brick? I don't know.
Payday 2 has the most amount of DLC I have ever seen. It is crazy.
Forget it.
Yeah. Like, so, you know, whatever. Oh, even during the Rona, they had the entire DLC bundle for like $7.49 or something like that. Like, it was hella cheap. They just wanted people to play Payday 2, and it worked. I didn't buy that, but I bought the game. Okay, let's talk about Avowed for a second, because Microsoft seems to be hanging their hat on this one, Kevin, a lot, and I'm not necessarily sure why. Sure, it's Obsidian, okay, and I love Obsidian's games, but come on. Is this really going to be like what they think it's going to be? Also, this looks a lot different from the last time they showed it. I don't know about you. This looks like almost a different art style. It kind of looks like the same concept, but something has definitely changed.
It definitely seemed a lot more like bright and neon, I think.
Which is fine, but I don't know. I mean, it looked fine, I guess, but
I don't know. Maybe System Seller is pushing it, but I do think this is going to be big. I was kind of surprised that you guys seemed down on this. I thought it looks really cool with this trailer. And I really like that idea of like this, like Elder Scrolls, like with, more colorful, almost this kind of like fairy tale vibe to it. So I'm really excited. This is almost certainly going to be a day one play for me. And I guess it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I think this is going to, as long as it doesn't turn out shitty for some reason, it's going to at least give Microsoft that much needed boost that they need about 10 of in the next year.
Wow. I don't know. I'm not so sure. I hope it does. I'm not saying it looks terrible or anything, but it didn't really look like I thought, Steve.
I don't know. It looked like a fake game that you'd see in a movie. Like, come on, put down that Avowed, and come on, we got to go to work. But then they turned it down, and they're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna make this into a real game."
It sounds like
I feel that like that's I'm almost offended. I feel like that's slanderous. I'm standing for Avowed right now, Steven. You shut your mouth.
Look, I'm sure everyone will enjoy it when it comes out in Game Pass whenever.
Joey Tribbiani would be very excited about his bit part in Avowed on an episode of Friends. I feel like, right? Come on. Okay. I don't really know. I mean, I guess Sea of Thieves had the Monkey Island thing. I never have played Monkey Island nor Sea of Thieves, so I don't really. I mean, obviously, I know what Monkey Island is. I guess that's a natural fit. In fact, I'm surprised they haven't done that already, Steve.
Yeah, guys, there's pirates in both. I get it, but it's Monkey Island's a point and click. The most you're going to get here is like fun costumes for your pirates, and
that's
I guess
that's literally the whole point.
No, I get it, but I guess when there's like 20 million players or whatever number they made up last year, you need that.
Oh man. All right, Kevin, Dune lover of us all. How about you talk about, I know I saw Dune in Flight Simulator 2024, but is that a new game? Is that just an update or something? I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it seems like it's just a whole bunch of new shit for Flight Simulator, and it all looked really cool. And then they showed flying the fucking Thopter around on Doom, and I was thrilled. I remember, what show was it recently where they announced a Doom game, or a Dune game, and then it turned out to be like RTS game or something, and I was like, flying the Thopter around on the planet. That's what I want. So I love it.
Okay, I will take your word for it. I like that they were doing weird like search and rescue missions and shit. I feel like they should just make Pilot Wings out of this game and just say fuck it, personally. But that would be far too fun. Okay, Steve. Let's be real. When we saw the Capcom logo show up on Path of the Goddess, we both thought it was Onimusha. Yes or yes?
Well, yeah, it's not much of a secret. There's been a lot of leaks lately, and one of the things everyone's that looking at the Capcom ones likes to point is like, Onimusha new work. I wonder what that could be.
This doesn't look anything like Onimusha, though, or at least it doesn't look like it plays like it. I mean, not to me.
I don't know. Maybe it started out like it, and then it spun off into this.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in video game land.
I feel like everyone was confused about Overwatch 2 except me. But
I was definitely confused. A new adventure begins. Like, is this a new title or is this a new season? We need you to enlighten us dummies.
Okay, let me attempt to explain. A new season of Overwatch 2 started yesterday, as of this recording. Season 5. Okay? So whatever they're talking about here is coming in August. So we're just going to assume that's Season 6. So as you can tell, this is confusing to me too, because I, I don't totally know what's going on. I guess after the PR ringer they went through the last month or something with canceling aspects of PvE, VPvE, VPvE, I feel like they just wanted to show something cool ahead of this particular season that we just started, which seems weird because none of the stuff they showed in this conference is here right now. Also, they announced that any of the PvE stuff in that season is going to cost $15 as like a separate like a separate purchase, which is like, guys, I really don't know what you're doing right now, but whatever, man. I'll just sit here and play PvP, just like I always have. I don't really need to pay for that, but a game with grids and cell shading and Persona 5 happened, Steve. So why don't you talk about it? Because I'm scared.
Oh, yeah. Well, this and the Persona 3 remake were actually leaked for everything a few days before the conference, where they only put it out for Xbox. Wink, wink. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha. It's exclusive, you know. Honestly, I don't know who's working on Persona 5 Tactica, or why they can't call it Persona 5 Tactics.
That's way too boring. That's for plebs. Tactica is for cool people who play Persona.
But to be fair, there's already been 2 Shin Megami Tensei Tactics games on the DS and 3DS in the way of Devil Survivor. So honestly, I think it should be fine.
Is that what those are?
Think.
I didn't know Devil Survivor was... Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, there were 2 of them, and they were both grid-based. But
I never played one. I just obviously have just...
This is obviously going to look way nicer. And fun fact, I still need to play a Persona.
I thought you had, I thought you at least played... No, you didn't. Never mind. Okay, I'm a liar. Never mind.
I have many things lying around, Andre. I just don't have time.
Yes, you do.
Don't get old, kids.
Why don't you just become a total man baby like we saw in Get It Together? What the fuck was that game that we saw? I already forgot the name.
It's not a great name, but speaking of things that are great, well, not great, but Jusant, I guess, is the name of this game.
Jusant. I like to say it like croissant, like very Jusant.
It's a game about climbing, and it's coming out in fall of 2023. Get it? Because you're gonna fall a lot.
All this did was give me Uncharted 2 flashbacks, so I don't really want to talk about Jusant.
Yeah, I'm done with that. I'm more interested in what they showed in Still Wakes the Deep. How's that for a pretentious title? Why don't we cross this over with Sea of Thieves?
Was that the thing that looked like Subnautica, but like
a little bit? Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Because from where I'm sitting, if anything needed a Alone in the Dark demo like the one we gushed about in the last episode, this was it. Because I feel like we're so close to something cool, but it's missing just the one little thing to push it over the edge. I get it. The ship's haunted, or it's got something I don't want really to be dealing with in there. Just give me something to hold on to until the game comes out on Xbox and nothing else. I'm presuming.
I mean, maybe it'll be a timed exclusive. All right, Kevin, we gotta, because we both had boners for this. City Skylines 2 looked incredible. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Like, that looked crazy impressive. I don't know how good or not good I may be at making a city in this kind of game. You know, I'm a SimCity vet, but like, you didn't really have to do stuff like this, you know?
See, I've spent some time with City Skylines. It was on Game Pass a while ago. I don't know if it still is. And it's definitely a game where you can like get out of it what you put into it. If you want to play that game at a fairly base level, you can kind of, you know, get more into like worrying about your overpasses and like how much traffic you're diverting. And then there's also layers that go like extremely deep that I didn't get remotely close to. So I think if it's anything like the first one, you can kind of play at your own speed.
Okay, that's reassuring for sure. I always played, I don't know about you guys, I always played SimCity on slow, like the slowest, because I always wanted to plot around. Should I build this here? Should I build that there? And then I didn't want like 2 years to go by on me by the time I'm deciding where to put my next fire station. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you need that the taxes coming in. If you go slow, you're just spending all that money all the time. I would do slow, build shit, then jack it up to fast, and just like you let a year run by and soak the shit out of my citizens, and then go back to slow to reevaluate.
I had PS1 SimCity 2000. I had it on various things, but I also had it on PS1 because they had like a weird 3D conversion mode where you ride around the city. It looked like crap. Anyway. But I even had the PlayStation mouse. I don't know if you guys even knew there was a PlayStation mouse, but I had it. Anyway, I built a city in that game called Raccoon City because, of course, I did, because that's what you did in 1996. And it was a complete failure. Raccoon City did not make any money. And I just tore it down. Gee, I doomed my town by calling it Raccoon City. I can't believe that happened to me. Oh boy.
Well, you got one police department, no fire department, and of course it's going to be shit.
Yeah, and you're sure it was the name and not your poor city planning?
No, it was the name. It cursed the city.
Oh,
there was no zombies I saw walking around on the streets.
Yeah, we keep talking about SimCity, and that's mostly because over the past decade, thanks to EA shitting the bed, cities has pretty much become SimCity in that time for the past decade, guys. Right? So I haven't played one yet, but I think this might be it.
Okay, one more before we take our next break, Steve. Atlas showed something called Metaphor Re-Fantasio. And holy shit, that's an Atlas game, baby. Boy, that's a Megaton ass game. I mean, it's not Persona, it's not SMT, it's not Digital Devil Saga, it's not what's it called? What the fuck am I playing? Not Cyber Detective. What just came out?
No,
anyway.
I think SMT and Persona had a baby and left it at the fire station next to whatever that thing that made the Marvel Clips guy happen. And now we got this coming. And we're going to have to play it, aren't we, Andre?
You're goddamn right we will. Look at it. That was great. Also, I saw this before we started recording. This was that game they announced as Project Re-Fantasy. Like, I want to say like 8 years ago.
I forgot all about that until you brought it up.
Me too. And I would have never thought about it again. And this name Re-Fantasio didn't tip me off, because why would it, right? But yeah, Metaphor. That's what I'm going to call it. So, yeah. Okay, let's take a break. We'll finish off the Xbox conference and the Ubisoft and the rest too. Be right back. We're back. I'm not doing a baseball chant this time because these guys don't even know how to support me at all.
Let's go find time. Let's go find time.
If I were 100% sure we wouldn't get in trouble, I would play the runners in scoring position song from Baseball Stars, which is the best chant you could ever hope to hear in 8-bit. It's stupendous. No one knows what I'm talking about. Okay.
No idea.
Okay, so let's get back to the Xbox conference here. There's a few things left. Steve, Towerborne? I don't even remember what this is. I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah, so they start off the trailer from Xbox Game Studios. Yeah, okay. The creators of Banner Saga Trilogy. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be great. Even if I can't play it, this is going to look awesome. Then I got real disappointed when I saw what I saw, which is like monsters punching and humping each other and a weird color palette that was decidedly non-Banner Saga trilogy.
I definitely remember this now because I do remember seeing the Banner Saga thing and then seeing like crappy 3D beat 'em up. So it was like weird.
I get it. Banner Saga was very much Oregon Trail meets Final Fantasy Tactics, and you can't exactly do that twice. I get it, but this isn't it. It's hard to quantify what's wrong, but it doesn't look right. And I'm sure things could change, but guys, I don't know.
Yeah,
at the Xbox conference, this isn't done yet.
I think a lot of things weren't done yet, but no, I now know what you're talking about, and you are correct. One of the big ones here, I think a lot of people are buzzing about, is Clockwork Revolution. I thought this looked insane. I thought that I was really into this. I know that some people feel like the steampunk thing is played out or whatever, and I don't think so. I think this looks cool. Of course, this is probably exclusive to Xbox because it was one of my favorites. I'm sure. I haven't looked it up, but I'm just gonna assume so.
Well, I need to be that jerk. And okay, firstly, I need to point out, guys, that there's some real BioShock vibes. I still need to play the third one, but
specifically BioShock Infinite, I would say.
Yeah, and I haven't even played that one yet. I'm like, oh yeah, but yeah, I gotta poop on your party a little bit, Andre. In Exile, who's making this, was scooped up by Microsoft a few years ago. They made a few sequels to Wasteland. That was a precursor to Fallout in like 1989.
Yeah, okay.
It's a whole thing. I'm not gonna get into that now, but this is likely going to stick on Xbox, but with a release date of in due time. I mean, like that was cute, but I'm like, come on, you're not helping your case from a few weeks ago, Phil.
That was cute.
It was cute. I feel like anything's possible after, especially since it's such a long way away.
Okay, so you're saying you have not played any BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite.
I played 1 and 2.
Oh, you played 1 and 2. Okay. I thought I was going to say we should do a thing where we play them all. I have never played a BioShock. So
I haven't played BioShock
they're great
either.
Yeah. Well, okay. So August 2007, when the BioShock came out, it came out on top of Metroid Prime 3, came up on top of Dynasty Warriors Gundam, came out shortly after Blue Dragon. So like that was a very busy time for me, and BioShock was the one that fell by the wayside, and I was like, oh, I'll just play it later. I never played it later. The narrator said. So
okay, well, I got the trilogy on Switch. I wasn't exactly running out the door to play these either.
No, well, they've been on PlayStation Plus. I've had them for like a long time to play, so I will probably play them that way. Kevin, they showed a Series S Black version that's a terabyte of storage, which, first of all, I think that looks really cool. I think the system looks really cool, I should say, in that black finish. However, I feel like 1 terabyte ain't it. I feel like 2 has got to be what it should be, especially for $350. That's just $50 less than a PS5 digital, which is a much more powerful machine. I don't know what they're doing there, Kevin.
Yeah, well, and they really like wore that like a badge of honor. Like, hey, now it's got 1 terabyte. It should have had a terabyte in the first place, especially being a digital only console in the 2020s. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that was more just acknowledging that it was a fuck up that it was 512 gigs or whatever the Series S was in the first place.
Yep.
So,
Kevin and Andre, put on your tool belt, go to the store, get a bunch of those drives and just swap them out when you need more memory.
Okay.
I don't see what the big fucking deal is.
Okay, yes. Let me go do that. Right. Oh, is this the drive that has Final Fantasy VII Rebirth disc 1? Oh, wait, that's not coming to Xbox. Never mind. Okay, geez. Yeah, let me go do that right now. Do we have anything insightful to say about the Starfield Direct besides 30 frames a second? LOL, which I've been calling for weeks on this show, and of course I knew it.
Is that I didn't find that surprising. Do you think that that's like a deal breaker for Starfield being 30 FPS? Because I like personally, yeah, it'd be great if it was 60. I wasn't surprised that it's 30.
It's not
and
a
I just
deal breaker. Like if I were in the market for this game, no, it wouldn't stop me from buying it. Because like I always say, it's not 30. Despite how I appear on the show sometimes, 30 frames a second is okay with me. You just gotta actually put in the not horsepower. You just have to actually put in the visuals, make it actually worth that 30. I'm not really sure that this game is, especially since even in this footage, it was kind of stuttery sometimes, which I guess is honest. I do like that they kind of showed that, but you know.
See, I don't know that it's just like the visual fidelity tells the whole story. Like just being a Bethesda game by nature, like the amount of shit that they have all over the place, and now they've got 1,000 planets of it. I don't know. I think maybe what they need is the blood moon to rise every 3 days and like reset all that shit. I don't know, because I think that like when Skyrim ran real shitty on the PS3 at launch, I think that was the big problem, right? It was because of all of the resources that were taken up just from like your fucking billion cheese wheels that you have sitting in the basement of your house.
Yep. I agree, but yeah, and I get they have to account stuff for. I mean, they did show the girl who's collecting sandwiches, right? So I mean, that was a thing. No,
the space moon rises again.
Which one of the moons on Jupiter rises again? Yeah, like I don't know. For example, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. That's like the first console Animal Crossing that runs at 30 instead of 60, right? But it's fucking worth it. That game runs 1080p on a Switch. It's like you can have a zillion objects in your room or on your island or whatever, and it's like it runs perfectly. Like it's worth it, right? You need that fidelity. Could they have gotten away with like 720p, 60, or even sub 720p? Sure, but I don't know. Starfield looks cool. I do really enjoy Bethesda RPGs. So yeah, I'd probably really enjoy this too. But yeah, besides the frame rate, it was a cool presentation. I'm not really sure what else to say outside of that. It's just a Bethesda RPG on crack.
My big takeaway that I thought was great was it's impressive how robust and how many of all of these systems and mechanics that they've crammed into this, that seems like everything works well with each other. But it really didn't come off to me as that they were just like implementing features for features' sake. It seemed like everything that they put in was thoughtful and yeah, designed properly to like be able to interact, not just like mechanically with each other, but not for certain systems to like overshadow the game. It seems like a fairly like well-rounded package. So yeah, definitely this will be a day one for me.
Yeah, I figured it would be. Yeah, like I said, if it's just Fallout in space, that's fine. I fucking love Fallout. That is not a bad thing for me at all. Okay. Let's talk about this Ubisoft Forward, because honestly, I was interested in most of the stuff they showed here. But it started really weird. And also, just talking about the presentation in general, guys, this definitely had an old school E3 vibe. This felt like an E3 presentation from like 2009, like super cringy music numbers. I mean, it started with like Just Dance, the Olympic esports version for some reason. Steve, I don't even know what the hell that means, but
E3 will never die. But I don't know what all that was either. I guess with all the sales they lost to nursing homes after they stopped making it for Wii, they got to pivot to esports. I don't know.
Are you saying they gave everyone I can't even say the word just because they stopped making like Just Dance for Wii? How do you say it? I can't say it.
Osteoporosis epidemic.
Yes, thank you. Caused by Ubisoft.
We're not the audience for this.
Hey, Kevin, you know it's true, okay? They put them all in the nursing home. Okay. Well, besides that, Jam and Song, though, they were getting down to with that Just Dance thing. I just didn't understand the Olympic part of it. Did the Olympics have official esports? Is that what's going on? I have no idea what that means.
They seem to insinuate that, but I don't know.
It was the Olympic rings. It was the official Olympic logo.
So I guess that's a thing that's coming.
I guess.
Turn on NBC and you're going to see people flailing around their smartphones.
I would hella watch Just Dance at the Olympics. There's no... Okay, come on. Admit it. You would definitely watch that.
At 3:30 a.m.?
Why are you putting it 3:30? Okay, whatever. Anyway.
If they're doing Just Dance at the Olympics, he's right. It's on at 3:30 a.m.
Okay, fine. You know what? No, they would give Just Dance, like, okay, I'm not saying they will give it prime time like they do swimming or something like that, but whatever. Anyway, let's talk about Avatar, Steve's favorite subject. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. You know what I fucking forgot about?
Sleepy.
You know what I fucking forgot about? That they made an Avatar game for 360. You guys remember that shit?
They made it for everything back then, and Ubisoft's name was on that too.
Well, yeah, I completely forgot that happened. Anyway, kind of a power move to get James Cameron for a video, huh? I mean, he didn't show up on the stage or nothing, but like, that was kind of legit. Anyway, this was very impressive to me. Obviously, look at this shit. Incredible. I'm into it. If you consider the Avatar movies as like sort of a wish fulfillment of like simply living in that world that, you know, independent of like what's actually happening in the movie, which as I do, that's kind of why I didn't really enjoy the first Avatar movie that much. It was okay, but the visuals were cool. The second one I really enjoyed because they gave me that. Right? I got to be in the ocean with that stupid whale for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? I really enjoy the stuff like that. So
really got to Free Willy there.
But hey, we already talked about that. But it looks like this video game is going to give me what I want in that regard. So I'm interested. I'm just hoping there's some real meat here and it's not just Far Cry Pandora, Kevin, because it kind of feels like that's what it is. But even if it is that, I'm sure it'll be cool.
Yeah, it looks great under that Avatar veneer, but I hear exactly what you're saying. I don't know if I've seen anything that was like completely mind blowing, you know, outside of that context. I don't want to drag this off topic, but did you guys have a hard time getting a good HD version of this conference? Because you know, I think that this game looks impressive, but I spent most of watching it thinking this probably looks great, but I can't really tell. I tried multiple sources, and I was getting told I was on 1080, and I was definitely not on 1080.
I watched it at work on the shitty Wi-Fi, so even if my shit said 1080, it was running well below that. I didn't really get to see a good, like, I watched some stuff when I got home on my TV, on the smart TV app, like the YouTube app, so I saw it in like full spec later. But like, yeah, I couldn't really tell at the time. But yeah, Steve, I know I make jokes, but seriously, what did you actually think of this, like, as a game?
I mean, compared to the 2009-10 Avatar game that they put out, this is obviously an effort was put in. I have to give it that much. There's this guy in the trailer, in the story trailer, I guess you can call it. I don't know if he's the general in the second movie or if he's just new U.S. bad guy OC, do not steal. But he's got this bizarre line read of, "Don't let the Na'vi get in our way. Get rid of them."
Yes.
And it felt like he was being pulled out of brunch at the country club more than being invested in invading the planet. And I couldn't help but like, what is the direction of this?
I noticed the exact same thing. The Na'vi. I noticed that.
Na'vi.
If someone told me that line was read by AI, I would believe it. Like that was really strange. But yeah, I don't. It's true. Anyway, but yeah, the fact that this game is still alive, we hadn't heard about it in a while. They announced it a long time ago. But I'm here for it, I guess. Even if it is just, you know, Far Cry Pandora, I guess that's cool enough. They showed something called XDefiant. Now, this used to be called Tom Clancy's XDefiant because I think it was supposed to be all the Tom Clancy, like Splinter Cell and Division and Ghost Recon, etc., like all, like Rainbow Six, like all the characters, if you want to consider them characters, like all in one game. I don't think that's that anymore because they've been beta testing this game for like 3 solid years. And I gotta tell you, I have no idea what this game is. They went into like telling us about like content such as like maps and weapons and their roadmap for the game and all this. But what the fuck is it? Seriously, like, did he even tell us, Steve? I don't even know what this game is.
No, I mean, yeah, I think they spent more time on the roadmap than anything else, because this isn't for us. Again, they spent almost an inordinate amount of time on the streamers at the beginning, and I thought they made half those people up, but that's another story. Just because I'm old, but it's for them. That's probably why Tom Clancy's name isn't in either. They're not going to play Tom Clancy's XDefiant. That's an old man game.
Yeah.
But Scudlord 97, it will play XDefiant, or whatever it is trying to do here, whatever that is to make their living. It's going to be the new shooter Olympic sport right after Just Dance at 5:30.
Remember Tom Clancy? Remember Hawks with an X? HAWX. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that was a Tom Clancy game.
I feel like it is. I don't think I'm making that up. I could be wrong. I don't think I am.
You might be right.
Okay. They showed a Prince of Persia like Lost Crown animated trailer, and that's what I want the game to look like. Why couldn't the game look like that? I don't know. Am I being too hard on Prince of Persia here?
Maybe a little.
We all know that after 2 or 3 months, it's going to be on the Ubisoft page of PlayStation Royale with cheese, and that's going to be when we all play it, right? I mean,
I do like. I don't know. It really depends on how much it. If it's like $40, I might actually like bite, because I do think the combat looks interesting enough. But as for their very often delayed Skull and Bones that we made fun of earlier, I love that it was just a musical performance. They just got these guys out here, Kevin, and it's like, oh, here's a song from Skull and Bones, and they start singing in a crazy pirate voice while these guys do weird percussion. I love it. That is so like E3 2010. It is so. It's so cringe. I in a good way, actually. I couldn't help but smile.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, the Game Awards still has that vibe as well.
Yes.
So
yeah, but they do they have a full orchestra and they're like sophisticated and shit, right? These guys, they wouldn't have these guys just coming out and like doing that, Steve.
This was a toe tapping number for sure, and I guess there's a beta in August, but I think that's just for pewters.
Yeah, I doubt my laptop will be able to do that. Kevin, what did you think of the Crew Motorfest? Before you give your opinion, I would like to say, and I feel like this is all I can say, I've been in the closed beta testing for this game. So I've played
it.
Yeah, and I feel like what you saw here was pretty representative of what you get. So you tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything foundationally wrong with this, but I found it very cringy, like how shamelessly they're ripping off Forza Horizon here. I think they could have, not even as much in like the game itself, but just like the marketing that they were doing. They had like what I'm assuming would be the equivalent of box art on the big image that they had showed there. And it's hard to explain how much this seems like it's ripped directly from Forza Horizon, right? They've got these glamour shots of these vehicles like sitting in the palm trees deep in the bush or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just seemed, I don't think they did themselves any favors by doing that. They should have even just tried to just give it like a little bit of different marketing aesthetic, because that's all I was thinking is fucking, everybody already has this. It's called Forza Horizon. So I guess if you want to play it on not Xbox, that's what this is,
that's what I was going to say.
That doesn't
it's Forza Horizon for PlayStation, basically. I mean, I know it's multi-platform, but
Yeah, and I'm sure it's great. It's just, if you want like be proud of it, right? And show it off like it's its own fucking thing.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I really enjoy the vibe of it as well. It feels like a festival or celebrating cars, you know what I mean? And as someone who doesn't give a shit about cars, that's the kind of stuff you have to get me in on. And this game does. I'm not saying I'm necessarily going to get it right when it comes out or nothing, but I enjoyed what I played, and that's pretty much all I can say. So I did not think Yves Guillemot would show his face here, Steve, after all that shit that happened in January. But
no.
but he's here.
Was that when they put on the sizzle reel?
I think he was after the sizzle reel because he wanted. I think he set up Star Wars Outlaws. I think.
Just a quick note on that sizzle reel: Mario Rabbids 2 bombed, but yet they still like crammed in that one little note about Rayman coming in at the end of the trail end of the DLC. And I don't know if they were blaming Nintendo but it almost felt like, you know what, this is going to be Nintendo's fault, so we're going to just be pissy and passive-aggressive and stick it at the end of the sizzle reel and not give it any real attention.
Ubisoft supports their games. They do. Like, we're still getting Division 2 updates. I still play that. They just, in that sizzle reel, they had an update for the crew, too. That game's like fucking 5 years old, and we're just about to have a new crew in a few months. You know, they had an update for For Honor. Didn't that come out in like 2016? That was also in the sizzle reel. You know, they support their games. You got to give them that. They will. You know, because like everyone says, oh, live service, this and that. Well, you know what? Ubisoft actually like puts in the work, and they value that stuff, whether the game is doing that good or not. They serve that player base, whatever it may be. So I always do appreciate them for that. You know, if you buy one of their games, it's not going to be one of those situations where there's something to do in 3 months. There will be something to do. But that, anyway, let's get to that Star Wars Outlaws because, well, I might sound a little negative. Kevin, you're probably the most, I don't know, is that fair to say, most invested in Star Wars, I guess?
Yeah, I'm not die hard necessarily. I think this game has potential. I think I got more out of the just the cutscene trailer that Xbox had shown off because I didn't feel as much like this is just like nailing that Star Wars vibe. I know you had mentioned kind of some Uncharted concerns, and I can see where that's going. I'm interested in seeing how this shapes up. And I want to see, gameplay closer to launch and see what we're really getting into, but I'm definitely not sold on it necessarily.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that because I did definitely feel by watching this was kind of Uncharted in space, especially look, you start out with like a stealth section. That's a quick way for me to turn my brain off. I hate doing that in games. So it's just like, man, I don't want to. And then like they went immediately from that escape and shootout to like riding on some speeder bikes and like shooting what game have we seen that in before? Right. All of it was very Uncharted to me. So I hope it's not like that. And then they get in the ship and they start flying somewhere. And it's just like, it seems very, I don't know if it's supposed to be open world, but it sure as hell gave the impression that you have a lot more freedom than just that like story section, that very linear thing that you did. And if that's the case, that's cool, and that makes it a lot more interesting to me. But as shown, I was kind of, I don't know, Steve.
I had more faith in this showing than I did in the Xbox One. But I'm kind of with you. I get your concerns, but we're still fairly early. It's not coming out even this year, I think. But I'm not buying this one. This is definitely Royale with cheese time.
And like I said, it's made by Massive Entertainment. They do The Division. I love The Division. And so I was just interested in this from the ground floor, But I'll give it more of a chance. Maybe this just wasn't what I wanted to see, but we'll see in the future. I'm not giving up on it.
Okay, before we move on, I need to have a little bit of a bitch fit here, if that's okay.
Uh-oh.
I've been feeling in the last 2 or 3 weeks specifically frustrated overall with the amount of subscription services with everything. I recently decided that I wanted to watch a recent season of Survivor. I don't really give a shit about Survivor. This was more just like, maybe like early 2000s nostalgia capture attempt or something like that.
Okay.
But the only way I can watch fucking Survivor is if I subscribe to Paramount Plus. And we've already got like how many fucking subscription services. Frustrated to the point where I've literally gone down the rabbit hole of seriously looking into erecting an old school TV antenna and drilling holes through my house to run it into my house. Because if I did that, when Survivor comes on next time, I could watch it for fucking free through the airwaves. And I've been getting genuinely salty about subscription services. So then all of a sudden now when Ubisoft has their conference and every once in a while I see play it day one with Ubisoft Plus. I'm sorry, you do not need a fucking subscription service. You like you're not important enough to have a subscription service. Like all of these, like, and this is not just to them, right? Now we've got NBC Peacock, like all this bullshit. Subscription services used to be cool, and now it's just expensive, like cable packages, and I'm fucking sick of it. Ubisoft, just like make a deal with, like, for some of your shit to go to Game Pass and some of your shit to go to PlayStation Plus. Like, who is paying for Ubisoft Plus? Like, fuck off. Do not.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm sick of it. I don't want to spend $200 every month on my credit card to get everything that like might be mildly fucking interesting.
And if that's the case, you may as well have DirecTV or whatever the equivalent is up there. Yes. I don't know what, but yeah, but it's like here. I'm with you. What's that other one? EA Play. They keep trying to push that on us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, actually,
fuck off EA Play.
The only time I subscribed to EA Play was during the Rona when it was $1, when it was literally 99 cents for a month, and that's how I played Jedi Fallen Order. Because it was on there, and they just did the patch for the 60 frames per second on PS5. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just spend the next few weeks playing, Fallen Order for 99 cents. And then I quit. Yeah. That's it. So,
but you know what, Andre? That's how they fuck you, because most people will pay the $1 and then all of a sudden forget to cancel their shit. And then a month later, they're getting charged $15.99 for fucking EA that nobody cares about. Like, do you remember when Netflix came out and it was just Netflix and it was so cool you could pay like fucking $8 and have all these movies to stream in the early 2010s? That was when things were good. 2023 sucks dick.
Well, this is why I just have Hulu plus live TV, and that is it. I can watch TV. I have Hulu. I don't need Netflix. I don't whatever. I watch whatever's on Hulu or on TV via Hulu. That's all I got. I don't pay for anything else. So personally, that's how I do it. I
think we have 4 streaming services just because it's like, well, the kids really like this one thing, and then my wife is watching this one show, or like, so it turns into this inescapable choking death trap that I want out of.
We should just all go back to cable. Honestly, we should. I don't know why we're fucking around. Well, actually, you know what? These cable companies and like satellite companies should just like, hey, aren't you sick of all the streaming shit? Don't you remember when you just used to turn on the TV and watch stuff? Here's like this ultra cheap package. They should undercut them. They have all the infrastructure already. Yeah. Right?
That's what it's going to be like when I have my TV tower built in my backyard and I'm getting free TV through the airwaves.
I just imagine you taking one of those Animal Crossing satellites and just sliding it around on your backyard.
I've legitimately looked into what you can get for free with an old satellite dish as well. Trust me.
Oh my God, the airspace in Canada! Look out, he's getting the satellite. Okay, let's talk about the Capcom showcase real fucking fast before we get out of here. There wasn't a whole lot that they showed new. They showed Path of the Goddess again, same thing from the Xbox showcase, except this time it said PS5 and Steam also, of course. Steve, Mega Man X Dive offline?
Andre, they just announced the closure of the online version coming in September.
That's why they're making this.
And then they came out with their big mega dick swing and said, well, here's the offline version coming to mobile and Steam. And you know what's the worst thing about it? If there's controller support, I'll load it onto my tablet and give it a try.
That's so stupid. Oh my God. I just love that. Mega Man X Dive offline. That's fucking pathetic, guys. Come on. Okay. I'm going to call it right now. What they did with Pragmata, this will usher in the age of the delay apology trailer. Right? This was great. They showcased the game. They showed actual gameplay. Hey, it's a real game. We promise. Also, it's being delayed. Sorry. That was great. With the little girl that said the page, it said 22 crossed out. It's like, I don't know when, and then they had a real thing at the end. Sorry, we're going to have to delay this more. Great. guys. I don't know, Kevin. Did you think that was cute? Right? That was if you're
that was a
about
good way to handle it and give you a little bone at the same time.
Yeah.
Can't wait till we see Metroid Prime 4s this year.
We already got that. That was Shinya Takahashi thanking us for being good Nintendo fans and all that. Remember that shit?
Oh no, this year we're totally gonna get footage in an index card to apologize. Yep, I gotta believe.
Steve, I've never played the original Ghost Trick. It was one of those ones. I mean, look, there was a million DS games in 2009. It just kind of passed me by. So obviously, I'm going to play this one probably on iOS. Actually, I'll probably play it on iPad. But what did you think? Did you actually play the demo?
I played like you, Andre. There's a million DS games, so I played the demo of this off Nintendo Channel. Remember that shit?
Yes.
And then never picked up the real game. And then I'm like, oh, right, this game. And then I downloaded this demo, and it's neat. It's easier to look at than the DS version, and it's even easier to follow what's going on in comparison to the DS version demo. So this is definitely on my list.
All right.
I felt a little bit bad because I remember when they showed this at the February Direct, and I think I specifically said on the show, this is not a Kevin game. I don't care. But I thought this trailer looked pretty good. I'm interested in this as well. So I've got the demo loaded up, and I'm going to give it a shot when I have a minute here.
Oh, shit.
Definitely do that.
Now I'm feeling left out. Maybe I'll play the demo now. Damn. Jeez. Having FOMO now. Demo FOMO. It was... Steve, it's kind of weird to call this new collection Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy when I feel like that's a bit of a misnomer. I feel, the first one is about Apollo, but 5 and 6, right?
6 has more Apollo times, but I guess it's a little better than saying Ace Attorney Trilogy Volume 2.
I kind of feel like they should have, though. I actually feel like that was the way to go. But whatever.
I mean, I'll be a smidge greedy and say I sure would have loved to see the Edgeworth duology, especially since we didn't get the second one, but maybe next year.
You know what? I feel like that's coming as its own duology, like Great Ace Attorney.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I feel like they're doling all this stuff out slowly because, there's calendars to fill. I just have to have faith.
Yeah. The first Edgeworth game, my favorite character in the whole fucking world, as you well know, except he's not, is on iOS as well. I was thinking of trying it, but I'll probably play 6 first before I do that. We'll see if they announce a duology by then. Okay. They showed Exoprimal in a variety of ways, Steve. And so let's recap, shall we? This show has been an Exoprimal fan account, basically, this entire time. Just based on the concept alone. Oh, millions of dinosaurs just spilling out of the sky and get to shoot them at like 60 frames a second with like a whole bunch of mech types? Yes, please. However, we played the beta a few months ago, and Steve, that's not exactly what we got to do.
No.
There was some forced PvP. You just kind of run from point to point, kill a few dinos, not really masses of them most of the time. And then
sending in raptors.
Yeah, summoning pterodactyls, summoning cyber guile, and
summoning dino dilf.
Summoning we're back, a dinosaur story. And at the end of all that, you end up in a bad PvP mode where it feels really bad to shoot each other. Overwatch. This is not right, and we just didn't like it. So, but Steve, as it turns out, nobody really liked that, including us. So they spent a lot of this time in this presentation saying, hey, we heard all your feedback. There's going to be a way in Dino Survival where you don't have to fight anybody else. And look, we got 10-player co-op missions, 5-player co-op missions. They're showing all the stuff that's not PvP. That was very calculated, Steve.
I mean, that's the best way to go, but holy shit, Andre, the monetization.
Yeah, what did you think?
I'm not made of money, Andre.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they do have maybe it's really cheap. Like, okay, Street Fighter 6 has like fighter passes, right? But they're literally $5, and if you do them, it's one of those ones where you get all your like tokens back that you paid to do it. So it's like as long as you do it, it's free. So I think they just want the engagement, so more than the money. Hopefully, Exoprimal's like that as well. But I don't know. Did whatever any of these modes they showed here in this Exoprimal presentation get you, whether it's story stuff or anything, was that a lot more palatable than what we played in March?
It's more palatable, but I don't know if I'm necessarily ready to trust again just yet.
Well, there's another open beta test coming this weekend, I think. Like in a couple days? Maybe it's the next weekend. I could be wrong.
I don't know. It might be a little rough this week, but we'll see if I can get in there.
Yeah, I think it may be next weekend. I'm not sure, but soon, this month. So we're gonna get
a minute.
Okay, so I don't know. I'll try again. I can't quit you, dinos. I can't quit you. We're back, a dinosaur story that I've never seen.
Speaking of, they had that story trailer, which was stupid as all hell, and I just kept waiting for somebody to say, "We got a real dino crisis on our hands."
They keep putting not Regina from Dino Crisis like front and center. If you notice, she's still like it's fucking Regina. I don't know why they keep like pretending that it's not. It's totally Regina. Whatever, man. That, by the way, I like that they did not update her 90s ass hair a bit. It is still that like shade of dark pink that is like glowing, and it has like the same, I don't know, just excellent stuff. I guess that's about it, huh? Did we get through all the conferences? Jesus Christ, we did it all. Any closing thoughts, Kevin? Any closing thoughts, Steve?
Guys, we just flew through all the conferences, and boy, are my arms tired.
Oh boy, goddamn!
Whoa, what were you doing while we were talking?
Don't ask. I told you not to ask him questions like that.
I gotta ask. I gotta know.
All right, let's get the fuck. Hey, put that away. Put that away. Wait until I do the outro. Let's get the fuck out of here. Fine Time Podcast on Twitter. Join us there. Hopefully on Blue Sky soon. Look in the description of this podcast to find our names on social media as well. See you next time. Bye.
We'll see you next time on Fine Time.